Okay, so for those of you all who are joining, thank you so much. I know the last thing you need right now is sitting in and listening to a bunch of stuff you already know. But I will tell you in advance that a lot of this is going to be um, basic information, um, basic information about Infinite Campus, and basic information about the KTS data exchange. I will say that I'm going to go into some details and show you some tips and tricks that you may not know about. I know the last group of people were pleasantly surprised that they learned a lot of new things that they could utilize. Excuse me. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, if you have questions, you can type those questions into the conversation box, or you can unmute yourself and interrupt me. Just feel free to do that. So first we're going to pay attention to, we're going to focus on Campus 101, and that's just basic Infinite Campus. I'm going to show a lot of you all, I'm going to put these screens side by side. Hopefully you're able to see what I'm doing. If not, I think there should be a way for you to make your screen look a little bit larger, but this is as large as I can get it on this end. The first thing I want to focus on is the KTS Data Exchange webpage. You all should know by now how to get there, but just in case, you would go to the Kentucky Department of Education website, and in the search box on the top right hand corner you would type in KTS Data Exchange. Oops. But even with misspelling it, I'm sure it will come up. Yep. And the very first result you'll see here will take you directly to the KTS Data Exchange webpage. Now, to get to Infinite Campus directly, there is a link on this page. On the right-hand side, under Infinite Campus Login, you'll see the KTS Infinite Campus Login for employees and the KTS IC Parent and Student Portal Login. So you can log into Infinite Campus, our Infinite Campus, directly from this link on the site, or you can save this to your favorites, or you can save a shortcut on your desktop. But just keep in mind that there are times when the desktop method shortcut will break, and I've had people to contact me and tell me that they weren't able to get to Infinite Campus, asking me if Infinite Campus was down or something like that, and it turned out that their shortcut was just broken. So in cases like that, and there's really no rhyme or reason for why that happens, it just does. So in cases like that, if you try to get to Infinite Campus using a shortcut, a desktop shortcut, and you're unsuccessful, always try to go directly to the KTS Data Exchange webpage and go here so you can log in. Okay, so and just to let you know also, it's a unique URL. Every district in the state of Kentucky has their own Infinite Campus login. So you know, you can't use the high schools that you service, you can't use their district database. It's totally different. You have to use our ATC database in order to get into our information. You also have to have a valid username and password, and the rights associated with that username and password are assigned by me. So when you create a new teacher or staff member in your building, there's directions. I'll show you later on how to do that, but there are directions that will walk you through that process to properly add a teacher or staff member into your database. At the end, you'll see a note that says contact Tanya Fluke to activate user rights, And so you'll just shoot me an email and I will get those user rights created for that person. For today's purposes, we are going to log in using my user account. Now I'm going to have more rights than you all are normally used to seeing, and that's okay. But normally you won't see as much over here on your index side. And what this has to do with whatever rights you have available, or whatever rights you have been assigned. So just so you know, you might only have a couple of these modules over here. But Infinite Campus is basically broken down into 3 main areas. So the first main area is going to be your action bar area, and that's these top 2 bars right here, the green bar and the gray bar. And then you're going to have the index and search area, and then you're going to have your main workspace, which is everything you see right in here. Okay, so for the action bar, the action bar is, like I said, it's this top 2 bars up here at the top, and you can actually use this arrow button to toggle this closed to make more room, or you can toggle it open. According to your rights for the year, you're going to see the years that you're able to that you have permissions for. So if you have current year permissions, you'll see 17-8. You'll only see a 17-18 listed there. If you have previous school years, they're going to show in the drop-down box. So you always want to pay attention and make sure that whatever you have, whatever year you're on, that you're in the current year that you want to work in. You definitely don't want to, well, I've tried to make it to where your rights will not let you modify previous school years, so don't worry about accidentally doing that. But during, there is a period of time where principals will have 2 separate logins. They will have a login for current year and a login for future year. And so you always want to make sure that you're looking at the correct year when you're making modifications. You don't want to accidentally work out of the wrong database or the wrong school year. Sorry. Okay, drop down also for school. You may only see the current school that you work in. You may have the rights to be able to see all of the schools. So it really just depends on what your rights have been assigned. Moving further down on the action bar, up at the top, you've got your notifications. This just lets you know you've got new notifications. If you click on it, it's going to take you to a box where it's going to tell you what has happened. These are some administrative things that have taken place over the past couple weeks. So that's what those notifications are for. You may not see any, but just so you know, that's what that box is, or that's what this little bell is for. The thing that looks like a waffle, that's called an app switcher. If you click on it, it's gonna give you the option of either going to the campus instruction site or going to campus community. Campus instruction is if you are a teacher and you've been assigned students in a classroom setting, you should have campus instruction rights. And if you click on this, it will take you to the campus instruction module where you'll be able to manipulate your grade book and so forth and so on. If you don't have rights to a student, to a particular, as a teacher for a course, then if you click on this, you won't see anything. Campus community, this is where you would go for help. So everybody should be able to click on campus community. If you've never logged in, you'll be taken to a landing page where you'll have to create a login, or you'll have to set your login up. If you've already logged in before, all you have to do is click on Campus Community, and it's going to take you directly to the community itself. You will, when you're in the campus community, you'll be able to look at news, forums, knowledge base. You won't see support. Support cases are for administrators. You'll also have a search box. You'll have access to Infinite Campus University. And then here's another help link. The knowledge base is where you would probably most often go. This is where you go to learn about the product itself. So I'm going to click on product information now. And then from here, some of the things that, if you notice on the left-hand side, it's all set up kind of like the same thing that you'll see over here on the Infinite Campus database under the index. It's all kind of set up that same way. So you could click down through here if you wanted to know more about attendance. If you clicked on the attendance link, it's going to open up these additional areas, and then it's also going to give you some knowledge base results. The knowledge base results has little symbols next to them to indicate what types of content you can view in those links. So for example, this little symbol that looks like a book, if you come over here and look under content types, that would be documentation, which is a detailed article that describes the technical aspects of this area. And then you got this little guy that looks like an arrow. If you come over here, you'll see that's a video. So you can watch a video about understanding attendance tracking. They also provide curriculum, a hands-on virtual lab, and simulation. If you don't want to thumb down through here, you can actually search for whatever you want to look for. So let's say I want to look for information on courses. So when I type in courses, then it gives me 2,698 results on courses, but it gives you the top results, so you can go down here and look through this documentation. Knowledge base, the Infinite Campus community is free to all users. And then there's also Infinite Campus University that Kentucky pays for a subscription. You can actually log into Infinite Campus University, look for courses, and take those courses, and they are actually webinars. So they're with a live trainer. And like I said, that's a free subscription that Infinite Campus provides. So this might be something you'd want to look in. If you have some extra time, if you want to get some, learn some things that you may have always wanted to know about Infinite Campus, just, you can actually go to the campus community for that. Okay. So the last two things that you're going to see in the action bar is the help. So if you click on the little help question mark icon, it's going to take you to a different tab, and you can type in whatever it is that you need help for, and it's going to give you some information, probably like some basic information, not the detail that you would get from campus community, but more basic type of information that might be able to help you with your issue. And then the last button in the action bar is the log off button. Now typically Infinite Campus will sit idle for about 30 minutes, and if you haven't logged in or you haven't done anything in the database in about 30 minutes, it will automatically log you out. So that's kind of a safety feature to protect data. But always you want to try to make sure that if you step away from your desk that you log out of Infinite Campus. You don't want that database open and available for students to actually accidentally get on there and check grades or whatever whatever they would do. They have been known to do it. So you just want to make sure you protect your data at all times. And just if you step away, just press the log off button. Okay, the next area of Infinite Campus is the index and the search area. And that's going to be on the left-hand side. Like I said, everything you see here is right-based. So you have to have permissions designated in order to be able to see these. All of these tools are organized into modules. So this would be considered a module, the student information module. This is the census module, behavior, so on and so forth. You would click on each module in order to open up the contents of it. And most modules have reports additionally that you can run. And we'll talk more about reports later. But you'll notice your name up at the top. That's kind of like your home button. So if you were to click on something and get outside of start working on something, all you had to do was click on your name, and that's going to take you back home to where you're going to see all of this information, all of the announcements and stuff like that in your work area. The search button. This is something you can do a lot with this. A lot of people don't realize how much you can do. So I'm going to show you a few things. First of all, let's say that you want to search for all kids in your school that have a last name starting with the letter S. So you just type in S, hit enter, and it's going to bring all of those students up. Let's say you want to see all of the kids that have a first name with the letter S. You would type in a comma and then the letter S, and now you're seeing all the kids in your school that have the first name with the letter S. So you want to know all of the kids in your school that have a last name of Smith. Just type in simply Smith. But let's say you want to know all the kids in your school that have the first name of Smith. You would type in a comma and then the word, and obviously there's none there. So you can do that. Same thing with all people. So for all people would be considered students, parents, emergency contacts, teachers, staff, all people. That's what that would be considered. In this drop-down area, you probably also have rights to search by student ID number. You may not see all of these in your user rights, but most of them you already have. Here's something that every single type of search has an advanced search. So if I were to click on advanced search, and if I wanted to search for all kids that were in grade 9 that were female and had a special education record, and then I would hit search, and it brings those students up. I'm going to go back to my home page. All right, so now let's go to advanced search. And let's say I want to search for all students that have a last name of Smith and the first initial of A. And it's going to bring up your results right here. You can do this very same thing with people, all people. Hang on, I'm frozen. Okay, there we go. All people, advanced search. It's a little different. You see, there's a little different. You want to know all people who live on a certain street. You can type that in there. All people who have the certain phone number attached to them. Or let's say you have a phone number, somebody that keeps calling your school, you don't know who it is. You can type the phone number in here and see if the results come up. This area over here, all these are saved filter area, and this is where you can use your ad hoc to do searches as well. So if you have created an ad hoc specifically for a, let's say you service 5 schools, and you created an ad hoc for each school that you service, you can select the school over here in your filters. Then you can say you want to search for all females that go to that school. So then you would select females, and then you would have that school selected over here, and then you would search, and it would give you the list. We also, for this course and section, advanced search. This is nice if you want to know first of all, you can just do a blanket search that's going to give you a list of all your courses. If you want to know all of the courses that Steve Jones teaches, you would go to advanced search, type in the last name Jones, search, and it's going to limit all of the classes that he actually teaches here. So the course advanced search box will also, you can also search by term, or period. I want to know all the second period classes that Mr. Jones teaches, and it's only going to bring those up. So the search can be really helpful for a lot of ways. Advanced search. You can also hide this, so you can make more room for you to work. So if you click on this little arrow here, it's going to hide that. Toggle that to the left and toggle it back. You can also, if you hover in between them and you see the arrows with the 2 lines, you can move it back and forth and extend it and make it smaller. That's your search and index area. And then the last area of your workspace is going to be the main workspace. And in the main workspace, go back to my home, you're going to see announcements, state announcements, district announcements, school announcements. Then you're also going to see the process alerts. This is where you can, you'll see KTS messages and stuff like that. You can actually delete these out of here. They will populate every night. You'll get a fresh message every day as long as the issue remains. So to delete all of them, you can go up here to the top and just click this checkbox, and it'll check all of them. Let's say I want to delete all of them except for this one. I can uncheck and then delete the selected messages, and it'll remove them. A lot of times you'll get this will just be full, and it will continue to populate, continue on and on and on and on. This area has been known to clog things up and make your Infinite Campus run slow. So I would suggest to every once in a while delete these and remove these from your Infinite Campus to kind of free up some space, and that way it'll prevent it from lagging so much. Now the announcements, you can do school announcements. There is a module over here under user communication. Secretaries and principals have that. If you click on the drop down, the announcements tool, you can actually create announcements and these will show up under the process alert boxes for teachers, staff members. You can also have them show up for parents and students in the portal. So you would select new, and right now I'm on Bullitt County, so this is only going to show for the school that you are currently on. I would enter a start date, and if you want it to end, you would put the date end. If you want it to remain open, you would leave that blank. And you're going to tell it that you want to publish it to campus. Publishing to campus is going to give the announcement right here in this area. If you publish it to the portal, that's going to mean that your students and your parents are going to see when they log in. Sticky, that means that when you click on this, it's going to always be the top message that you see, so that the users see when they log in. So if you have multiple messages, but you have one that you really want them to see all the time, you would select the sticky box. And I'm just going to type in something here. Okay. And then we're going to save. And so now when I click on my name, my home button, if I were to scroll down here, I'm going to see a school announcement. It's going to tell me what date, what the school is, and it's going to tell me what the actual message is. You can actually, I don't know if you realize this, you can add links, you can change the fonts. Now, directly from the message itself, you'll see that you can make some changes. You can make it bold, underline, italics. You can insert images, tables, links, and here's where you would change the font color. Now, you can also, any message that you've previously had saved, even if it's ended, will save in this area right here. And if you notice, I selected that it was going to end yesterday, so now it's not showing. But if I were to go back over here, and let's say that this is a message that I like to use every year. So I used it for last year, and I want to use it again for this year. It remains in your announcement list, and all you have to do is open it up and change the dates. And it will publish until you are ready for it to stop being published. Any questions about announcements, about navigating through Infinite Campus? One couple more things, and then we'll move on to the next area. The account settings down at the bottom under the index. This is where you would go if you wanted to update your security email or if you wanted to update your password. And this access log shows me how many times I've logged in, when I've logged in, if it's been successful, and where I've logged in from. So a lot of times I'll get you all to send me emails, and you'll say, I can't log in, it's not letting me log in. And I'll go and I'll check your access log to see if this says success or not. If it says no, that means you've typed in your password incorrectly. And just keep in mind that passwords are case sensitive. So sometimes you might have your cap locks on and you accidentally type your email or type your password in wrong, and that'll give you an unsuccessful attempt. If you have 3 attempts in a row that are not successful, then the system will lock you out altogether, and you'll have to contact me and I'll have to reset you. So just so you know, if you've tried to log in, you've gone in, you kept logging in, you're like, I know this is my password. Well, it might be your password after you've tried it for the past 5 times and you finally realize what you were doing, but now your system has locked you out. So those are the kind of things that you need to keep in mind whenever you're on Infinite Campus or whenever you're trying to get access to Infinite Campus. Okay, the KTS data exchange setup. So just going back to some basics here. Again, with the KTS Data Exchange webpage, this is where you're going to find all your information you're going to want to know about the KTS Data Exchange. These slides, I'm going to send you this PowerPoint after the session so you'll have it for your purposes. But these slides are basically, I'm going to go over the things that you'll find on the KTS Data Exchange that will help you with the basics of setting up the process. A lot of you all have just done this for a couple of years now. You know what you're doing. This is going to be repetitive, and I apologize for that. There's some of you that are just starting, and you may not know this information. So, starting from the top, under the System Administrator Setup heading, I want to show you the type of data that flows back and forth. The KTS Data Exchange is the secure exchange of student data from one database to the other, from the high school database to the technical school database, and vice versa. So the kind of data that you will see that will flow between the schools, so from the once the courses are set up correctly, the high school will send demographic information, enrollment schedules, special education records. There are some important flags that will sync, and real-time attendance reporting. Not real-time attendance, but real-time attendance reporting will also be something that syncs. And I'll explain that later. From the technical school back to the high school, you're going to see posted grades that will sync. And you're also going to see real-time attendance reporting. And how that data flows is dependent upon how if the courses are created properly. So the course creation flowchart kind of helps to explain how that process works. The process is actually initiated at the technical school side. So the technical school is the one that initially pulls in the 6-digit state course code to initiate this KTS Data Exchange process. They pull the course into their database, and then they create however many sections that they need for that particular course. They will then communicate to the high school and tell them which course number that they need to pull into their database in order to connect to each section. So the nightly sync will occur after this course and these sections are created, and after the sync happens, then the high schools will then be able to see these courses that have been created for them and pull them into their database. So in a sense, this section here, this one section, will turn into a course of its own when the high school pulls it into the database. And then when the high school sets this course up, they will then connect one section to that course to roster students into that course and allow for that student information then to sync back to the technical school and deposit back into the correct section. That's how the process actually works. And it's connected all through the course numbers. The course numbers are at the high school are a 13-digit course number that begins with the the KTS school ID number. The KTS school ID number, I clicked on the wrong thing, sorry guys. Well, I clicked on it on here, and you can also find it right here under System Administrator Setup, KTS school ID numbers. The first the two numbers are the tech ID numbers. Last year we had a different setup, but this year, starting on November the 21st of last year, we updated the way that the codes were set up, and we removed the first digit number. So now the code that the high schools will pull in always needs to start with the technical school number, the tech ID number of the specific technical school that they send their students to. So for Bullitt County, since I've been using Bullitt County as an example this time, their tech ID number would be 06. So if here is a more detailed explanation of how the course code is made up. And this kind of breaks it down for you and shows you that the first two numbers, once again, are the technical school identification number. And to find that, you would go to this document. Or you can communicate that to your high schools. The second group of numbers, and for this example, the 09 would represent Caldwell County. The second group of numbers is going to be the state course number as it was pulled in from the technical school side. So 060112 would be a digital literacy course. And for an example, another example, I'm going to go ahead and let's use this course, this medical terminology course. This is a six-digit course code number in the technical school, 170131. So Bullitt County, once again, Bullitt County is a 06 tech ID number, and the course code that I'm looking at here is 170131. So let me pull this over here, and I'll show you how that course is deciphered. So 06 for Bullitt County, and then we've got 170131 for the state course code. The next number or letter, or the next digit that you're going to see here is actually called a course indicator. And it will always be a P unless the course that the technical school pulls in is a duplicate course, which could be used for variable credit purposes or however you would like to use that duplicate course. And in that case, that the P would then be replaced with an X. There are A, B, C, D, and E courses out there, but they're only for the school-defined course number, which is 90999. So you will rarely ever see the A, B, C, D, or E. You'll only ever have a P here or an X here. 90%, 95% of the time, it will be a P or an X. And it's just dependent upon the course that the technical school actually pulled in. And so what I mean by that is when I go to index and I go to scheduling and add courses, if you notice for this agribusiness class, there is a 010102 course, and then underneath it's the same course number with an X at the end of it. So both of these are the same course, basically. It's just that you might pull this one in and use it as an all year long class, and you might use this one as a block class. You know, it really just depends on what your purpose is, what you would want to use. You know, you don't have to use the X courses at all, but they're there available to you in case you need to use them. So in this case, if this course was pulled in, this course would have a P course indicator. If this course was pulled in, it would have an X course indicator. So that's basically a brief explanation of that. These next to the last group of numbers is going to be the technical school period number, and then the last group is the technical school section number. So in this particular case, for this section that or the course we were just looking at, I'm going to click on the section that was created. The principal actually named this section 1. So I know that when it deciphers into this course code, it's going to be a 01. That's going to be the actual section number. But the period number is going to be down here under the section schedule placement area, and it looks like this principal has designated this course to be a second period course. So I know the rest of my number is going to be P0201. The 02 is indicative of the period 2, and the section number here is indicative of this 01 that you'll see right there. And that's going to be your 13-digit code for this particular class, this particular section. So when the high school goes and pulls this course number into their database and adds students, they're going to be sending that student information back to this specific section. Okay. One other thing to make sure that you know, the section numbers, this number right here, can only be 2 digits. It can't be more than 2 digits. If it is, you're going to get an error message, like back here when we were looking at these error messages. That's one of them right here. This particular school has a section number error. It is trying to name these 2 classes with a 3-digit section number, and it's thrown this out as an error, and in turn it will not sync these courses until this is corrected. The actual period can be a number or a letter, and it is created from the schedule that you all have given me when we were created these schedules. So for Bullitt County, they have a 4-period schedule, but then we might have one school that wanted a 7-period schedule. We might have another school that has a period 1A and a period 1B. If this was a 1B, this one right here was a 1B, then this over here, this 13-digit code would turn out to be P1B01. So that's how you would get the different, you would get the actual number or letter for a period. If it's really depends on what your schedule is. If you don't, most of you all just have strictly numbers, period 1 through whatever, so you don't have to worry about that, but just so you know. Any questions about this? I've asked for you all to, principals, to actually provide your high schools with master schedules that included this 13-digit code. And the reason why I asked you to do that is because it will cut back on issues, syncing issues. It will cut back on the high schools accidentally pulling in incorrect course numbers, using incorrect course numbers. High schools have been known to just pull in whichever number they want, not really paying attention, and then they end up realizing that they've sent their kids' demographic information to the wrong school, which can be a FERPA violation. So we want to make sure the high schools have to pull in the correct numbers in order to send their students to the correct technical schools. And so we want to try to cut back on all of that. If you all can help them, take 15 minutes to decipher these codes and send them the right codes that they need, and you're going to save yourself a lot of heartache later on down the road when you don't have students syncing to you correctly. So that's why I've asked you all to do that. Okay. The KTS course setup guide is the document that actually should be used at both the high school and the technical school when creating brand new courses. if you have rolled courses forward from the previous school year to your next school year, you're still going to have to go in and adjust them and make modifications and make sure they're set up correctly. But if you have brand new courses that you're pulling in from the catalog, then you need to make sure those are set up correctly too. And you need to follow the directions in the course setup guide in order to do that. You all are really good about doing that. I will say that your high schools mostly aren't, and it's not their fault. It's because they are so used to creating courses the way that they've created courses in their district for however many years, and they just assume that that the way that they set courses up for the technical schools are the same, when they are. It is not. It's not the same way. They have to understand that there are certain processes that they have to follow, and they have to follow them correctly. They can't take shortcuts, and if they do, then they're risking the chance of causing syncing issues. So they really need to follow the directions on this guide in order to properly pull a course into your database, and then they will create their section. Now you can, at the technical school, you are allowed to use more than one section per course, but the high school can only use one section per course, because this course is considered to be one section in and of itself. So if they were to add more than one section to this course, that would cause issues, because the database wouldn't realize, it wouldn't know if it's trying to send group of students from this first section or the group of students from the second section. Sometimes it would send a mixture. Sometimes it wouldn't send any kids. So a lot of times if there's syncing issues, this is one of them that I've run across, is that the high schools have actually created more than one section off of that one course. And then once the section has been created, a primary teacher should be attached to that section through the staff history tab. If you don't know the teacher that's going to be teaching that course, you can leave it blank for right now, but just realize that if the teacher will not see the course or see students until they are attached to that course through the staff history tab as the primary teacher. And here's something else that you need to consider. Students and grades and everything are actually attached to the course itself, not the teacher. So if the teacher were to move or leave and a new teacher join, grades and everything stay intact because they are actually attached to the course itself, not the teacher. Then after the primary teacher has been selected, you all should make sure that the grading tasks and the grade calc options are set up correctly, and we'll go over those in just a minute. And then students can begin to be scheduled in the high school side in order to roll over to the technical school side the next day. Questions about course setup? Okay, so the next process is to update grading tasks. The grading task setup document will walk you through how to do that, but I'm going to go over to the actual course itself to kind of show you exactly what needs to be done. Now, grading tasks must be set up at both the technical school and the high school side. Grading tasks are what allows the teacher to create assignments and post grades, and also allows for the grades to sync to the high school. You should only see, when you pull up a course, you should only see 3 grading tasks listed. They should be the CTE term grade, CTE final exam, and the CTE final grade. If you see multiple CTE term grades listed, 2 or 3 listed here of the CTE term grade and final grade and whatever, if school has not begun yet, you need to delete all of them but one. You should only see these 3 listed here. If school has already begun and you notice that one of your courses has multiple grading tasks, multiples of the same, you need to contact me. Don't delete. You need to contact me because there's a chance that a teacher has already started adding grades and assignments to multiple grading tasks and you don't want to delete anything accidentally. So just always, that's why I say I think from the right now is a good time for you to just do a search by course and section, hit go. It's going to bring up all your courses and sections in the 17-18 calendar. Start from the top and click on your grading task tab and just click on each grading task to make sure they're set up correctly. The CTE term grade. This is like your in progress grade. This is the grade your teacher is going to should post to at least once a week. Recommend that every time they go into their grade book and they add grades or update grades that they go ahead and just repost before they leave. And this is the grade that's going to continuously sync back to the high school throughout the term. So the things that you want to make sure that are appropriately set up for that, and this document will tell you what the meaning of these actual fields are. But I will tell you that the score group should always be CTE numeric. That's the score group that we use, unless you have a course that should be considered as weighted, or if you have a performance-based course where it's going to be a pass or fail situation. But 9 times out of 10, you're always going to use the CTE numeric, and it's going to always default to that. The term GPA field should only be specifically used with the CTE term grade grading task, but it is an optional field. It's for those who would wish to track A/B honor roll. Basically, that's all this field does. You can use it if you want to, or you can just leave it blank, whichever one. Now, I'm speaking specifically for the CTE term grade. You should not have a credit value listed or a credit type selected, because you're not going to give a credit during the CTE term grade time period. You're going to give a credit for the final grade. So for CTE term grade, you want to leave the value blank and you want to leave the credit type empty. The term mask. The term mask, think of it like this. This is how often the course is being offered throughout the year. In this particular case, the course is being offered at some point during all 4 terms. But let's say you've got a course that you're going to block it out and they're going to take it for multiple periods throughout the day, but they're only going to take it through the first semester. So if that's the case, you would only select the terms that are within the first semester. The active mask is the area that you use to indicate, it does 2 things. First of all, it turns on the posting feature for your teacher and allows your teacher to be able to post grades. Secondly, it is an indicator that lets the KTS data exchange know that this is a grade that needs to sync back to the high school. So you can only have one active mask checked at a time. And typically during the first of the year, you're only going to want term 1 checked, or you're going to start with term 1. So you can turn all of them on at the same time by going over to Index, Gradings and Standards, Grading window. Now, you see right now for the CTE term grade, there's no active mask selected. So I'm going to go to the grading window tool. I'm going to select the school, and I'm going to say which grading task I want. And I want to turn term 1 on for this active mask, and active masks have been updated. So now when I go back over to the course, and then I go to the grading task and I select CTE term grade, I'll see, well, it was supposed to come on. Hang on a second, let me see. Maybe I didn't hit something. It worked earlier. It usually always works until I got something going on. All right. Oh, I know what I did. See, that's 16, 17. So I need to go, first of all, I'm going to go back and fix the term grade for 16, 17 because I don't want it to be on it at all. I'm going to leave that blank. If I leave them blank, then I'm turning them off. Okay, so now I want to go back and select 17, 18. Bullet, CTE term, and I'm going to turn on term 1. Update. Now when I go back over here to this course, grading test, CTE term grade, now it's selected. Like I said, you can only have one selected at a time. If you have multiple selected, you're going to get error messages, or your high school will get error messages. Your high school will not have a successful sync of grades at that time. The post only grading task box, this is for when you want to select for this course, for this particular grading task to only be a posted grade. That means that the teacher would not be able to add assignments to the grading task. And this is not checked because you want your teacher to add all of their assignments to the CTE term grade. You want them to attach their categories and their assignments to the CTE term grade, not the CTE final or the final exam. So that's why in this particular case the box is not checked. But if we were to go down to the CTE final grade, you'll see that this principal has checked this box because they don't want teachers to accidentally be able to add categories and assignments to the final grade. Now, going through here for the CTE final grade, same thing. CTE numeric is the score group. The term GPA value here should not be indicated for a final grade, so that would need to be blank. The credit value would be entered because you're going to want to give a credit at the end of the course for the student. And I'm seeing that a credit type of health science is listed. Now for the term mask, you're telling the database when you want a credit to be awarded and a final grade to be awarded for this class. So from what I see here, a student that takes this class all year long is going to get a half a credit at the end of term 2, and then they're going to get another half a credit at the end of term 4. That's how this is set up. So if you notice, no active mask is selected at the time because they're not trying to send over final grades at the moment. But when it's time for them to send over final grades, then they will turn the term 2 mask on for term 2 to allow that to sync over. And then you'll also see that the post only grading task is checked for this. The CTE final exam, this is an optional grading task. Some high schools require that a final exam grade be configured into the final grade, and they want that final exam grade to be reported separately and recorded on the transcripts. And so that's why this grading task is made available. If you do not utilize this grading task, you can just leave it blank. Don't fill it out. Don't fill in any of these term masks or anything. Just leave it alone. If it bugs you just sitting there, you can actually delete it from your course. But just not setting it up will actually not turn anything on for your teachers, or it will not be included in calculations or compositing or anything like that. Questions about grading tasks? Now your high schools will have to set up the grading tasks on their side as well. So you might want to remind them of that. Okay, something that you will do that your high schools will not do is set up the grade calc options tab. So on the KTS Data Exchange, that's going to be right here, KTS Grade Calc Options. And this document walks you through exactly how to properly set that up. But I'm going to show you on here. So what I like to do first is fill in everything down here. That's going to be my first step. I'm going to fill the calculation type. And I'm going to say I want it to be in progress grade. So when I do that, it fills it all down to all terms, all grading tasks. Then I'm going to select the grading scale, which will be CTE grading scale. And it does the same thing. It fills it all the way down. The weight categories and the used scores, percentage value, I'll leave that alone and allow the teachers to make the choice of whether they want to use that or not. So once that has been selected, then the actual composites have already been set up for this course, but I'm going to show you how the composites work. So if you remember back in the grading task for the CTE final grade, the principal wanted a half a credit awarded at the end of quarter 2. So I would go to the quarter 2 CTE final grade and tell it that I want this to be a composite of 50% of quarter 1 CTE term grade and 50% of quarter 2 CTE term grade. And then I'll lock that composite to make sure that the teachers can't unlock it and adjust it on their side. Then I'll scroll down and do the same thing for quarter 4. Quarter 4 CTE final grade is going to be a composite of 50% of quarter 3 CTE term and 50% of quarter 4 CTE term. And then I'll lock that out. And your composite is complete at that point. Once again, high schools do not have to set up composite grade calc options on their side because the grades that they receive during the syncing process are already composited grades. Questions? Okay. All right, moving along. Here's some things that I wanted to go over with you. The grade sync troubleshooting guide. If you're having grade sync issues, if your technical school, your high school is, the first thing you all should do is go under the system administrator setup and pull this grade sync troubleshooting guide. Both of you all walk through the steps. This walks you through various steps on things that you can do to troubleshoot. If you've gotten through this and you still have not located the issue, then you can send a support request to me. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to find your issue by going through this document. It also gives you some additional information, some things to keep in mind when you are trying to troubleshoot. Making sure there's only one active mask checked at a time, making sure the grade calc options are set up, and so forth and so on. If you do have to submit a support request to me, please be sure to give me as much information as you possibly can. Screenshots, examples, course numbers, SSID numbers. But if you do send screenshots, be careful not to include the student's name, social security number, or their date of birth in the shot because that is a FERPA violation. We also, another thing that you all are going to need to keep in mind is after school starts, you're going to want to set up the special education record view for CTE teachers. Your teachers will not be able to see special education records, IEPs, until you have given them the rights to do that. And this document walks you through how to do that. The reason why I say wait until after school starts is because a lot of times you will not have all of your students listed in your roster until after school starts. So this walks you through on how to retrieve a list of active special ed kids, and then how to use that list to go through and select each one and set up their team members and fetch their teachers and save them so they can actually be able to view the students' IEP records when they log into their campus instruction. Another resource that is helpful is the under user resources down towards the bottom. There's the student feeder school ad hoc query. A lot of you already know about this, but this is a query that I've created to help you all isolate your students if you have students that come from more than one school. So I would highly suggest that if you haven't done so, that you go ahead and create this query. This can be used for a lot of reporting purposes. It can be used for attendance. It can be used for setting up the counselors in your school and so forth and so on. So that's something that I highly suggest that you all do. Another thing that you would do is if you scroll down under other training resources, the KTS adding new teacher or staff, this is how you would do that. So you are responsible for adding your new teachers and new staff into your school. This document walks you through how to properly do that. If you do not properly add the teacher, you could be missing them in your sits eventually. You could they could have issues when it comes to student survey, a student voice survey, and so forth. So just make sure you follow these directions on how to properly pull in a teacher into your database. Once you pull them into your database, you want to make sure you give them their work email address in the proper spot. If you don't add an email address, a lot of times back in a couple months ago, I was having people saying, I can't see my teachers in SITs. I can't see them to do their evaluations. It's because the email address was not entered for that teacher. So you got to follow all the directions for that. And when you get down here to create the user account, you walk through all the steps, and then at the end it says notify Tanya Fluke via email so I can assign the rights to the new employee and complete their setup process. I will take care of that. You just send me an email and I'll make sure that teacher has their user account information. Then once the teacher has been pulled into your database, then you would need to add them as a primary teacher to the section of the staff history tab that they will be teaching. If you don't add them as the primary teacher to the courses that they teach, they will not see the courses when they log into their campus instruction. And also under other training resources for KTS attendance clerks, we've got the KTS attendance for technical school clerks. This is a huge 46-page PowerPoint that goes through every single process with screenshots and examples of how to properly maintain attendance in your school. So I would highly suggest, if you are a technical school secretary or whoever that maintains the attendance, to go through this document and familiarize yourself with attendance. If you need more one-on-one training, or if you have one-on-one questions about attendance, just let me know and we can set that up. There is also another PowerPoint available specifically for your high school attendance clerks. I think it's a good idea, if you are a technical school clerk, to go ahead and send them the link to this and let them know that it's here and that they are aware of their responsibilities, the things that they need to do on their end for tracking attendance on these technical school students, because it is a little different than their regular students. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, recommended helpful reports. So under, let me find my, whoops. Previous, okay. Okay, under user resources, back up here, there is a document here called Recommended Reports for the KTS Data Exchange. I'm going to click on that. And this is an 8-page document that goes through all of the different reports that are available to you. Some of them are custom reports specific for the KTS Data Exchange. Some of them are canned reports that are in there for everybody who uses Infinite Campus. So I'm just going to quickly go over some of these reports. The KTS Attendance and Attendance by School report. Those are the reports that that show real-time attendance reporting within your database and within the high school database. So those can be found under the the Kentucky State Reporting module under Edit Reports. And I'm going to scroll down here, and there they are, KTS Attendance and KTS by School. These are real-time reports that, like I said, can be run in either database. So when your teacher actually pressed the post button and post attendance, your high school could then pull this report and actually see what the teacher recorded. It's real-time attendance in the fact that it's visible right then and there, but it's not real-time in the fact that it does not sync to the high school. So it's still up to the high school to enter the data if they wish to enter the data. There is another option for attendance data entry, and that is the syncing of unknown attendance. And that is something that they can do, but it's their decision if they want to allow unknown attendance to sync it to their database. If they're interested in that, they can reach out to me, and I'll be happy to give them some more information on that. But this KTS Attendance and Attendance by School, they're basically the same report. The only difference is the one that says by school actually literally pulls by school. It says, instead of like if you've got a district that has multiple high schools. The KTS schedule report, if you want to know where your student is at your high school, if they are at the high school right now and you need to find them for whatever reason, you need them to come over and finish something, or you want to see if they're available, you can run this KTS schedule report to get a snapshot of where that student is at the high school. And the KTS KTS transcript report, that is a snapshot of the student's transcript record as it appears at the high school. It is a complete transcript that lists all of their courses as the high school has it in their database. The transcript report that you run in your school is only going to show your courses. This one will show all courses. The KTS posted grade audit report. Incidentally, the KTS schedule and the transcript report are also located under Kentucky State Reporting Edit Reports. Under the KDE reports, you're going to see the KTS posted grade audit. And the reason why it's under there is because this is a report that I requested be created by the people here at KDE. And this is just a report that helps you to see the last time a teacher actually posted a grade for a particular grading task. Just to make sure that you've got teachers that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, grades that have been posted like they're supposed to be posted, so forth and so on. You can run this report by grading task. Those are the custom reports specific for the KTS data exchange. Now we're getting into the canned reports. We've got the council report. Some of you all have counselors from other high schools that have login access to your database that you've allowed to be able to log in and view their students. You can actually assign the counselor to specific students, so they can only see the students that they service versus seeing students outside of the schools where they teach. This report helps you to see what students are assigned to what counselors. And that report can be found under Student Information, Reports, Counselor. The next report is a census verification. This report, a lot of high schools or districts will run this and send it home with kids and have their parents review and make updates and return it. And then they will go in and update the information in their database. Please keep in mind that correcting census information in your database will not stick. It will always get overwritten every night by whatever the high school has in there. So if you notice something that is not correct, you need to contact your high school, and your high school is the one that has to make the adjustment. However, you can print these off and have these available filed away somewhere in case something happens and you're not able to get to Infinite Campus and you want to be able to have a ready available contact list of information. You can either print this off in paper format or print it off and save it onto a jump drive, a secured jump drive, or something like that, so you can always refer to it if you need to. You can find this report under Census, Module, Reports, and here we go, Census Verification. You can select what information you want to print off on this report. And then a lot of times what a lot of schools will do will say that at the bottom, I verify that the information above is accurate. Something like that. I can't. Okay. And then they'll like put in like a little signature line for the parent or whatever you want to do. And then when they generate this report, one of these will generate for every student, and then at the bottom of it, it will have this, whatever you put here in the report comments. You can actually sort this report to print off by student, by graded student, by homeroom teacher, or by specific teacher. So if you wanted to hand it out to specific teachers to print off, you can, or however you want to do it. But this, I think the census verification report is nice. Especially, you know, it gives you a backup of your student information in case something happens. Mailing labels, those are available for you to print off. That's located also under Census Reports, Mailing Labels. The Daily Attendance Summary Report. This is a good report to share with your teachers. That way they can double check attendance. You can find that under Attendance, Daily Attendance, and your daily attendance will always be listed here, and you can actually hit Summary Report, and it's going to print a report of the students that are actually out for the day. And then you can actually pass it around, let your teachers see it. If they've accidentally marked somebody absent, they can let you know. That's what it's available for. The master schedule is a canned report master schedule, but I would not recommend providing this to your high school people. The master schedule that I'm talking about that I recommend that you provide to your high school people is one of the templates that I sent to you back during schedule prep back in November. And that template is a more readable type of master schedule report, and it will also allow you to include the 13-digit code to provide for them. But this particular master schedule report is helpful. It's under gradings and standards, reports, master schedule, scheduling reports, master schedule. And what you're going to see on this report, you can actually just generate the report, or you can generate it. You can say you only want to run it per teacher, per term, whatever you need. But when you run this report, you're going to see that it shows you the 6-digit number, which that's specific for your technical school. It's going to give you the teacher's name. It's going to tell you which terms this course is actually being taught. This one's being taught all terms, where this particular class is being taught quarter 1 and quarter 2 only. Then it tells you what periods. If you had this course being offered multiple periods, it would say like 1, 2, so forth and so on. Tells you how many students in that particular section have an IEP, how many males, how many females, how many total are in this. So this is a good informational report for you, for sure. The next report available is the gradebook usage report. This report will help you to monitor your teacher's gradebook data entry. It will give you dates. It will tell you the last time the teacher was actually in there and posting and adding assignments and things like that. So if you're worried that your teachers aren't actually really updating their grade books like they should, or if you've gotten a call from a parent or whatever, you can actually check this report before you actually go and have a chat with your teachers. The sections roster is just a report that you can pull up as a roster of students for each section. It's nice to have if you've got a long-term sub or something like that, but it's available to you. And it is located under scheduling, reports, section rosters. And then you've got the grades report. That's one of the reports that you'll use for that will assist you in grade sync issues. The grades report, which is located under gradings and standards, reports, grades report. You can actually run this report to see all grades. You can run it to see missing grades, and you can run it by grade. So if you click on by grade, you can select which grades you want to see. If you want to see everybody who made 100, you can run that report like that. If you want to see everybody that had a failing grade, you can select all the failing grades. You can select all of them and then unselect the ones that you don't want to see. Missing grades. If you want to know if a teacher has actually posted for the CTE final grade, you want to see which kids have a missing CTE final grade, you would run this report, and it's going to show the kids that do not have a CTE final grade. So the grades report is a nice report to help you troubleshoot. As far as actual report card grades, you're going to want to use the report card template, and that is also under gradings and standards, reports, report card. So here I've created report card templates for you to select from, or you can go to your display options and select what you want to view yourself. And this is these are the type of reports that you can run and send home with your students. The transcript batch, that is a way for you to also run transcripts. for your students. I also have a transcript template here available to you, or you can run display options. Keep in mind that a lot of these reports you have to have an enrollment effective date selected, and if you're outside of the effective enrollment date, you're not going to receive any information. So you need to always select an enrollment date that falls within the actual enrollment that the class was in session. Any questions about these recommended reports? There's a lot more reports in here. You can run these reports. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to mess any data up or anything like that. They're there for you to run. But if you have any questions about specific reports that I did not list, just let me know. Okay, and just quickly, I'm going to go over some things that might be able to help your teachers with instruction module, the campus instruction. Under other training resources, actually no, it's under the how-to videos. Under how-to videos, there is a gradebook setup and assignment creation in campus video, and it's a 27-minute video. It's a video of me talking about the basics of how a teacher needs to set up their gradebook and create assignments. I would recommend that you let your teachers know about this before school starts, so if they've had trouble in the past with gradebook or campus instruction, or if they have never used campus instruction before, they have time to actually go through and learn, because if they don't have their gradebook set up properly in advance or properly before school starts, and then they start entering data in, and then it comes time for final grades and nothing is happening, they can't average grades, or something's went wrong, and they've all semester long they've been entering things incorrectly. It could be a really cumbersome thing to fix. So making them aware of the things that they need to do to set their grade books up properly from the very beginning is definitely definitely suggested. So this is one of me doing it. Now, Campus Community offers some recorded trainings, and I have the links directly here. This is how long the videos are, but they can actually do these at their leisure too, and they can fast forward, if they've got things that they already know, and they can fast forward to the things they want to see. But this talks about basic setup, this talks about the planner, this talks about the actual grade book, this is advanced grading and scoring. So these are free, these are pre-recorded, so they should be able to click on these links and go directly to them and just listen at their leisure. If you have brand new teachers that are coming, I suggest that they participate in these trainings, watch these trainings. I suggest that you get them with some more seasoned teachers, so the seasoned teachers can kind of guide them. And then ultimately, if you need me to step in and kind of offer guidance, I don't mind doing that either. But a lot of times, the teachers are the ones that are in this a lot more than I am, and they can offer more assistance than anything. So, but just know the importance of making sure that your teachers know what they're doing in Infinite Campus before they start the school year off. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's all I have. Do you all any questions, or if you'll have anything that you don't want to bring up during the session, that you can email me afterwards. If you want to set something up separately, be sure to feel free to email me. But that's pretty much all I have as of right now, unless you all have any other questions yourself. And if you don't, I'm going to send this PowerPoint to you all by email shortly. And then I'm also planning on having it loaded directly onto the KTS Data Exchange webpage. But other than that, that's all I have for you guys. I appreciate your time today.